Hi, I'm Hemmings, a behavioural psychologist who you may have seen popping up on your TV from time to time. I'm honoured to be involved with Saying Goodbye and the tremendous work that they do to support families who have lost babies at any stage of pregnancy, at birth or in infancy. As a mother of two healthy children, my younger son was born with breathing problems and his life hung in the balance for a few hours. Hours I will never forget. The distress and grief that families go through during the loss of a baby can never be underestimated. And while it's a trauma that most will never get over, Saying Goodbye offers unstinting support, advice and understanding to those families that have suffered the loss of a baby. Zoe and Andy Clark Coates, creators of Saying Goodbye, have personally lost 5 babies, so there's nothing anonymous about their services. They have suffered the devastating grief themselves and believe that by sharing their experiences, they can help others too. Miscarriage or stillbirth can be deeply misunderstood and is often considered to be a taboo subject. There are some people who believe that a baby that isn't born full term hasn't really been a proper baby. But for the 4,000 women annually who lose babies through stillbirth or late miscarriage, and the 25% of women who suffer an earlier miscarriage, it's a time of deep trauma, sadness and loss. When a woman suffers a miscarriage, whether movements have or haven't been felt, a heartbeat heard or not, you're already planning a whole new life with the baby, and so the loss and grief can be overwhelming. There's no right or wrong way to grieve any more than there's a time period when your grief will lessen. Grief is powerful and unexpected. You can feel like you're coping one day or have a good week, and then the terrible sadness and sense of loss can throw you off your feet again. Bereavement of any sort tends to happen in 5 stages: shock and disbelief, accepting the reality of your loss, experience the pain of grief, adjusting to life without your baby, and finally moving on, perhaps trying for another baby or diverting your emotional energy into something new. These stages vary enormously from person to person and family to family. You and your partner may not feel them at the same time nor in the same way. Your levels of shock, anger and sadness could vary in intensity and duration. The process of mourning is different for everyone. Grief can remain unresolved for a very long time and can have considerable consequences on your relationship and your state of health, both psychological and physiological. There is a tendency to believe that if you have other children, then you shouldn't feel so bad about it. But each baby is unique and loved for themselves. Having other children doesn't lessen the grief any more than losing one parent. The medicalisation of miscarriage with all its complex and inhuman terminology and technology can also be a frightening experience when you're vulnerable, making that pain of grief feel a much more lonely and isolated place. What's important for your relationship with your partner and that of your family is to communicate your feelings with each other, to share your perfectly natural and often overwhelming sense of loss. It's all too easy to feel isolated during grief. And while time alone is important, sharing your experience with those closest to you can help the emotional healing process. This is where Saying Goodbye provides such valuable and precious support at this most difficult of times. Please join in their amazing efforts. Help others by sharing your experiences, and most importantly, help yourself and your family to manage the devastating loss of a baby. Why not also consider coming to one of Saying Goodbye's national services, where you join with others who have gone through loss in remembering and acknowledging the lives lost or cut short. They have proved to be transforming for many who have attended.